Hi everyone, it's Gina. Welcome to my channel. Today I thought we would make this nifty little, I'm not sure what to call it. It's a little book I made because I needed some storage for all the ephemera that I make during my videos. It's been laying around and I really wanted something to store it in. And so I came up with this. I made it out of the Amazon packaging that I receive when I order things, and I thought it turned out really cute. So here we are. This is the prototype, and I'll just take you through and show it to you first, and then we'll get started. I added a little pocket on the inside, but the main pieces that hold my ephemera are the pages here in the middle. I knew I wanted the pouch to have some sort of clear opening because I wanted to see what was inside. I just got through making this, so you could of course decorate and stamp and do all kinds of fun doodahs around the edges. I just used plain brown craft paper, and of course you can use whatever paper you want, but I thought it turned out really well. It did take me a little while. It's not hard, but it does take a little bit of time. All right, you ready? Let's get started. All right, the first step is find some packaging. And it is 9¼ inches by 12 inches. Of course, the Amazon packaging comes in a variety of sizes, so use whatever you have. This one came out nice and neat. I must have folded this tab over when I got it, so the one I make today won't have the additional pocket. This one, if you've not sealed it, all I did was I put it in my slicer and just sliced off a nice smooth edge because, you know, it was a mess from where I had opened the packaging. But this one, apparently I just sealed it. So it's already got a nice clean edge, and I'm not going to cut it again to open it. I'm just going to leave it as is. But you certainly can leave it open because that's what I did on this one. My next step, I just took some medium weight craft paper and I glued it down. Now this will probably be my inside. So I glued the craft paper just to the back. The purpose of this paper is just to add strength to your cover. You can skip this step if you want, but as you see, I punch holes and use these loose leaf binder rings, and I don't have anything else protecting the hole. So I figured the more layers that I have, the better off it would be. I'm going to just glue this down, and it's going to be covered with the fabric, so I just really need to make sure I glue it down just enough to keep it from moving. I'm going to use the Scotch Create tacky glue. Now I know it doesn't cover edge to edge, and if you have a piece of paper that you would rather use, if you want to cover, make sure that your extra piece covers edge to edge, then that's certainly a good idea. The next thing is you'll need some fabric. All right, so the length of my package is 12 inches. My fabric is 14¼ inches long, and the height is about 10¾ inches. My fabric was longer, but the width is just how it came. I'm going to flip this over. Okay. And we're going to fold these pieces in, and I'm just going to glue them. I am a no-sew girl, and it's really kind of embarrassing because I have a sewing machine sitting right over there. Oh, one of these days I'm going to really learn how to use it. Okay, so I've got a good inch on each side. I pulled it to where it was really taut because I want it to be nice and snug on there. I'll do the other side. I will. Okay. So once that's kind of gripped and you feel good like it's not going to move, we can glue down the other sides. On the one I already made, I cut out this little corner right here of this piece so that when I folded it over, it wouldn't be so bulky. But the paper I glued down for support doesn't come to the edge. So I'm thinking now about leaving this piece so that it could help strengthen the tip. It's not super weak, but you know, I don't know. It doesn't hurt to try. So why don't we try doing that on this one? Since these are two separate pieces, I'm going to glue them together, and that will help make my corners a little bit stronger. So we'll see how that works. Now we'll fold this edge over and we'll glue down the top and the bottom. So the outside is done. Now I just need to cover up the inside. And I believe what I did on the other one was that to add a strip of fabric right down the middle. Let's see what the middle of this one looks like. Oh, no, it looks like I added paper all the way over. But how about we try adding the fabric in the middle this time, and let's see how that goes. I'm going to glue that right to the middle. Now we just need to cover up the two panels on the inside, and for that I want to use some pretty decorative paper. Alright, it is actually the next day, but I did find some paper last night before I called it quits. I cut these to 5.5 by 9. This is going to leave the middle open, but if you wanted your paper to take up more room, then cut it bigger, or you could not cut it at all. Now as for glue, I think I want to switch over to my glitter glue because I also glued this paper onto the fabric and it adhered really well. So I don't think I have to use my Fabri-Tac or any kind of fabric glue. I think the art glitter glue will do just fine. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to glue these two pieces down. So it was kind of weird. This side seemed to adhere really, really well, and this side I had to go back over and add some more glue around the edges. You definitely want to make sure your edges are down pretty well. That way you don't have to worry about it getting caught on something and pulling away. But yeah, for whatever reason, this side glued right down, and this one just needed a little more assistance. But that's okay. There's the outside, and here is our inside. So our cover is complete. The next thing we want to do is make our pockets. So all it is 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, craft paper. It's heavier than your regular typing paper, but it's not super thick. And I take it and I fold it over in half. Then, leaving extra room on this side for my holes, I found something about the size of the window that I wanted, and this happens to be 4 by 6. And I lay it down, leave about 1/2 inch on this side, and a little more at the top because this one doesn't have it. But what I'll do is take a circle punch and just punch out a little notch up there. So I wanted to leave room for that. Place this wherever I want my window. I trace around it, I lay it down, and I take an X-Acto knife, such as this. I take a ruler or something, I can lay it down and push it against, and then I cut out my square. I was gifted transparency film from my good crafty friend Nancy, and that's what I used to make my window. For transparency film, one side is really slippery and the other side has a little bit of grit. You can hear that. And I put the slippery side on the outside, thinking that the slightly rougher side will help hold whatever I've put in my pocket. But it depends on what you're putting in. If you're putting in something that's small and you have a whole bunch of them and you fear it might stick to the grit, then you may want to flip it around and have the slick side on the inside of your pocket. But for me, the slick side is facing up. All right, so let's do one together. So this one, I'm going to use this paper, and I'm sorry, I don't remember what it's called. It comes in a packet with slightly varying colors, but I can't think of what they're called. I'm really sorry. If you know, please leave it in the comments section so other people can see it. And if I can figure it out, I'll try to put it in the description box, but right now I just can't think of what it's called. You're going to take an 8.5 by 11 sheet and you're going to fold it in half. I'm going to take my template for the size of the hole I want to cut, and I'm going to lay it down. I'm thinking you want to leave at least 1/4 inch on your shortest edge. You want to have plenty of room to glue down whatever you're using for your window. I leave extra room on the left to poke my holes, and a little bit of extra room at the top to do the little half circle punch. And I think that looks good. So I'm just going to trace around it. There we go. I'm going to put a cutting mat underneath, and I'm going to open it up. Unless you want windows on both sides. If you want windows on both sides, you can leave it folded. But I just wanted the window on one side. So you open it up, then you take a craft knife and something with a hard edge, and try to cut right over my line. And I'm going to do that all the way around. Alright, now we pop it out. Now on this side, I strayed from the edge of my ruler and I went out just a little bit. And I'm just going to fix that with my scissors. Alright, the rest looks good. Now something I have noticed, and you can see it on here, is if you get glue on the inside that has the rough part, yeah, the glue does not want to come off and it will leave a smear. It wipes right off the slick side, of course, but this side is much less forgiving. So I want to be extra careful with my glue, at least try to be. So when you open it up, the slick side is going to go down. Now I noticed my hardest part, what I would do is put glue all the way around and then lay my transparency over top. And if it wasn't just right, I would have to move it, and that's where my smudges would come in. So I'm going to try doing it a different way. Since I'm using this transparency, I'm going to be using the Barely Art Precision Craft glue. It seems to be a little more forgiving when it comes to buckling using this type of material. Maybe I'll just kind of place it where I want it to go. Add my glue that way. Now it does move, and what I try to do is take like my bone folder and move it away from the edge, and I just try to spread it around. Okay. So I'm going to go through and do the other 3 sides. There we go. My window is in, and now I'm going to punch out my notch. Now for that I have this big 3-inch circle punch. I'm not going to measure, I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. There we go. So I need to close and make it so that it's a pouch, and I'm just going to run a small bead of glue along the edge with my art glitter glue. Once you have your glue, you just fold it over. You let that dry, and you have your pouch. I'm going to make a few more of these, and when I'm done, I'll come back and we will punch our holes and put our little storage booklet together. Now I have made all 4, and we are ready for our next step, which is to add the rings and put it all together. Before I do that, I just want to give you a little preview of how the pages look. I think that looks really, really nice. So I'm excited. I like this one even more than my prototype, which very often doesn't happen. I love the one I make first, and then I go to make the video, and it's, you know, it's okay. But I think this is turning out really, really pretty. So I need to make my holes, and I'm going to make the holes in the cover first. I was thinking 2.5 inches from the top and 2.5 inches from the bottom, at least a 1/2 inch in. And then I saw my T ruler. I measured this part from the top of the actual ruler to the edge of the T, and it's 2.5 inches. So I was like, score! So all I have to do is line this up with the top, and at the top of where the ruler is, which is 2.5 inches, I want to come in and make a mark. I'm going to grab my pencil. Let's see. Flip it over. No, I'd rather have it grab. It grabs the end better this way, although my numbers are now down at the bottom, but that's okay. Sorry, I just don't do metric. I'm an American. Here is my 1/2 inch right here. I'm going to go over maybe just a hair. So I'm going to make my little dot right there. Okay, and this is just a plain pencil. So I'm going to come down here and do the same thing. Line this up with the bottom so that it's flush, and here is my 1/2 inch mark, and I'm going to come over just a hair, just about another 1/8 of an inch. Put my mark there. That's where my holes are going to go. Now, the first booklet I made, I used an awl to poke the hole in, and then I remembered I had this big old fancy Crop-A-Dile. This is the Crop-A-Dile II. It's big. It's definitely not cheap, and I don't use it very much, so I thought, oh, let's use this thing. And I'm going to use the little hole maker. I want to use the 3/16, which is the bigger one. Right now it's set for the 1/8, which, if you can see, it'll come out right here. When I squeeze it, that little thing that makes the hole. That's small. I don't want to use that one. I want to use the bigger one for the 3/16, and now it will come out right next to it with the bigger one. That's the one I want to use. So now that I've got my holes made, I'm just going to line up the edges of my book. And I think I will go ahead and put a little binder clip here, just for good measure. I'm going to push this in, and this is kind of tricky. I won't be able to show you on camera, I don't think. You know what? I need stronger magnifiers. Here we go. That's better. Now I can actually see. So I see my dot, And I'm trying to line it up. There. Woo, there we go. Look at that. Nice hole, perfectly symmetrical. And it went through fabric 2 times. It's a little messy on the back, but I'll get my scissors and trim that up when I'm done. 2 pieces of paper, fabric, and the packaging. So it was a little struggle for at first. I wasn't sure if I was going to get it to go through, but it did. So this is pretty heavy duty. So let's see if I can get the second one. Okay, let me take my little scissors. Just kind of trim some of this away. Okay, so there are my holes. Now I need to line up my pocket inserts so that they will fit in. And I think if I just kind of flush against the edge of my paper backing, now I'm going to use a binder clip to hold that in place. I can go just a little bit higher to center it in, on the inside. I think that's good. I'm going to fold this and I'm going to draw a little circle in the hole. Now let's see. Okay, so that works out, and if you can see that, let me bring it up. It's not too close to the edge and not too close to my window. So that is awesome. So now I want to line these up. And now I should be able to cut holes all the way down through all of them at the same time. Let's go ahead and put another one just to hold the bottom so it doesn't get squirrely. That's 1, 2. The holes are made. I just need to add my rings. These are 2-inch loose leaf notebook rings, I believe. And I thought 2 inches would be big enough. Now I only made 4 little pockets, but I can always add more. So I'll just keep adding them until my ring can't really hold anymore. And I don't know how many that will be. But I just need 2 of these. To open them, you just push this way and pull this way. And then spread them apart. Let me see if I can line everything up and just do it at once. You can see all the way through. I think that's definitely the best way to do it. There we go. Look at that. Ha! Oh, super. Then we close them. I've got lotion on my fingers. I can't do it. Come on. I'm almost done. There we go. There's 1. 2. There. Look. There we go. Oh, that is so cute. You open it and there we are. There's plenty of room up here to write if you want to label what's inside. Now this one, I don't have pockets on it, which I definitely think we should have pockets. Let's see. So yeah, let's just use another sheet over here. Let's do 4.5. We could do 3.5 by 4.5. I think I will cut it down to 3 inches though. For some reason it just looks too tall. Oh shoot, I have these little cutoffs. I didn't have to cut a new piece of paper. Duh. So here's our pockets. Now you could ink, you could stamp, you could, you could decorate this however you like. For the video, I think I'm just going to keep going and just go ahead and glue it down. Okay, add one in the back as well. Now I just need to add the closure, and I think I'm going to use this twill strap again because it's just so strong, but use what you have. Sari silk would work as well. Let's see, I think the other one, it was about 5 times the width because I'm going to close it this way. It's going to go around, but it's also going to go through my rings and twist, and I want to have enough to tie it off at the end. So I'm going to go 5 times the width of my book. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. If it's too long, I can always trim it off how I want. You just don't want it to be too short. Okay, so first I wrapped it through the rings. Okay. And then I pulled the rings. I don't want to pull too hard because it's just a punched hole through paper. And I don't want it to rip because the tension is too taut. So I'm not going to pull too terribly hard, but enough to bring them together. And then I'm going to put a little twist. Okay. And then wrap it around. And pull it through. You can tie a bow, but I usually tie like a half of a bow. I just pull one loop through. Oops, my fingers will work. There we go. Here we go. There. And there you go. There is your little storage book. I love it. Now this is just for me, okay? If you're going to sell them, then I would encourage you to sew them down. That would make it a lot more sturdy. It's not going to, the glue isn't going to come unstuck once the person, gets it home and starts using it. Yeah, I would definitely sew around the paper if I was going to actually sell them. But this is just for me, and I'm fine. If it comes unglued, then I'll just glue it back. So that is how you make it. Let's see what we can put in it. I went and grabbed a few of my ephemera pieces that I've made. Let's see. These are just little folders. Aren't they cute? Made those with 6x6 paper. They have little pockets in them. That's a video that's on my channel. I can put these in here. We have these little guys. I was using up some washi tape, and I believe these hold a gift card, but you can always just add them to a journal, glue them down, use it as a pocket, whatever. Again, that's a video on my channel. Okay. These tags, I created a master board and then I cut it up to make tags. We'll stick those in here. I like it because it's big enough to hold some larger pieces, which is awesome. And these are like little wallets that I made, and this is also a video on my channel. And I thought these turned out really cute as well. They can go right in here. Okay, so I've got stuff in there. It is properly stuffed. There you go. It's not hard. It's a little time consuming, but it's really not a difficult project. Even if you're a beginner, I think you could do this. Of course, having the right tools definitely makes your job easier. Although you can create your holes with an awl. You don't have to have fabric. You could use pretty paper and cover it. So, you know, you can always take this idea and just adjust it depending on what kind of supplies that you have. But that's the basic idea. So you can take that and you can run with it and adjust the process however you see fit. There we are. Those are our books. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me that thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit the bell as well so you're notified when I post a new video. All right, that's it for this one. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.